story, everybody. Team Chain Block with yet another deck profile, and I have to say this is probably the one I've been most excited for because it's coming back. Sean, what is the deck list?
Today I'm going to be showing you guys Punk Orcust. This is a pet deck I've been playing for a couple of weeks now. I've seen pretty good success with it. I've thought about the list a lot, so I'm really excited to share it with you guys.
Yeah, like me and Sean are so obsessed with Orcust that this deck makes it work, and it's one of the few ways they can work. Bring back Harp. Let's get going.
Next list, he's coming back.
Hopefully.
So I'll kick off with the Punk engine. We play 3 Zayaman. This is your normal summon. Obviously it gets the whole engine going.
Yeah.
It's a tuner, but generally, if you can, you want to summon this off E-Telly because it just makes the combo so much stronger.
Like E-Telly's just so much gas for so many things.
Honestly, if you draw E-Telly alone in this deck, like, you're winning. Like, you don't need a second card.
We done one test hand against this deck, one test shield against me, and E-Telly just went off, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, and if you draw E-Telly Gearsu, like, you can beat anything.
Yeah.
You really can. So then I play 2 Foxy Tune.
Big baller.
I actually prefer 2 to 3. Like,
you don't want to see it too much.
Yeah, the thing is, you don't want to draw this in multiples, and you're never resolving more than 2, and you have 6 copies of Zayaman anyway.
Thoughts. Many people think that this is so broken that they should limit some of it already. What do you think?
I fully agree. I'm about to get to the next card, and this is what breaks it. Like, this card should not have been printed. Dear no.
Yeah.
This is a level 5 that can special itself if you draw it, so it's not even a hard garnet.
Yeah.
And when it goes to grave, it allows you to revive a Punk. So generally, if you summon Zayaman, you'll add the Foxy Tune, you'll summon this. This makes a level 8 synchro that is then chain blocked, where you can summon either another level 8 or a tuner.
That's dirty.
It's ridiculous. And the levels just work out perfectly. And then finally, we're playing 1 Ogre Dance. For the last name, this is essentially another copy of Foxy Tunes. That's another reason I don't mind.
One. He's in 70% of decks, but
yeah, I think the only reason you should ever play more than one of him is if you're playing a trade-in build.
Yeah.
Like, I know Punk Therion tends to play 3.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dirty.
So, I think generally 1 is fine. He doesn't come up much, but you're never sad to see him.
Exactly.
And then, of course,
here we go.
The 3 Telly. Unbelievable card.
Just love to see it. Just not once per turn.
It's not once per turn in any fashion. So
No.
if you draw 3, you resolve 3.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable in this deck especially. It's just insane. If you draw this card, you win.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way to put it. So that's the Punk engine. This is, like, what makes the deck good. It gets you into Chaos Ruler, which you'll see in the extra.
It's scary how many decks that syncs up with.
And it chain blocks the Chaos Ruler, which in this deck, 5 mils. So long as you hit an Orcust,
yeah.
it just continues.
You will.
Not to mention that he becomes 2 bodies, the Chaos Ruler.
Yeah.
So the Punk engine alone is putting up like 4 bodies.
2 level 8s.
Yeah. So then the Orcust engine, Gearsu,
my guy.
at 3. He is the reason the deck's playable without Harp. So on normal or special, you can send an Orcust or World Legacy card from deck to grave.
Yeah, like just the fact it's or special as well. Cracked.
Yeah, so that actually comes up, especially if you draw Bombard in hands where you want to normal the Zayaman.
Yeah.
So if there's 2 or more cards in his column when he's summoned, he's also a tuner, so you can go straight into Hulk.
Dirty.
And if you control no other monsters, you can summon a World Legacy token to each player's field.
Yeah.
That's also an effect that comes up a huge amount, because it means just this on normal is at the very minimum full Orcust combo, as long as you go uninterrupted. And if you draw this in E-Telly, you normal this, you summon the token, and then you E-Telly, you get the Zayaman, you get the Foxy Tune into the Deer Note, it completely snowballs.
It just syncs up so well.
It's a crazy amount of advantage. So then we play 2 Orcust Nightmare.
2?
I think that 2 is better than 1 in this deck.
Yeah.
Because this is the most crucial part of the engine to resolve. And you often aren't going to be recycling Orcust cards off your Galatea. You'll be recycling for a play I'll show later.
Fair.
Then we play the one-ofs, the one Whirlwind, necessary. It's what summons back. It's
great.
Incredible. The one Symbol Skeleton,
Yeah.
that's your interaction. It summons back the Ding on your opponent's turn. I often use summon back Galatea, actually, in this deck.
Cool.
Because you get to link it off. And then the one Brass Bombard. This card is, as I said, great for summoning the Gearsu from hand. But more importantly, this card is a tuner.
Yeah.
Which means Hulk gives you access to the Orcust engine.
Yeah. Like...
Innately. So the moment you can get a tuner on field, which pretty much every hand in the deck does, you have access to the Orcust engine if you need it.
I have to say, I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. He's in about 50%.
I've seen him be cut a lot. I think you need the one of.
Just one, like, there's enough room for one. He just pops
Not to
off.
mention, if you draw the Nightmare without discard fodder, it is a nightmare because it then just clogs up the hand until you draw something that discards it. Whereas if you have the option to summon the Bombard, it's just a huge extender. Like it's great to draw if you have access to the Bombard. So then the back row, we play the one Babel, makes everything a quick effect.
That's just
incredible.
Immense.
You don't need more than one because it can add itself back.
Yeah.
The one Return, it's essentially just a third target, but you actually end up resolving this quite a bit. One of the plays that you can do if you have enough Orcust engrave is you just send the Galatea to draw 2 and then just revive it off the symbol, and then you immediately recycle the symbol.
Oh man, unreal.
And then Orcust Crescendo. A lot of the end boards this deck makes will actually end on a Galatea, which turns this into an Omni Negate that banishes.
Yeah.
Not to mention, if you mill this, it's a Searcher on your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
Then the one-ofs.
Yeah.
The deck summons tuners. It's always going to be there.
This has to go.
This for sure has to be banned.
I feel like we've banned about 3 cards now at this stage around this, and I don't know why they're waiting not to ban this, but you gotta play it.
It's just phenomenal, and next format it's actually going to be even better, because pretty much the only way to beat Splites is to just lock them out of things. Splite and Terelement are both heavily extra deck reliant, and so is Exorcist.
I feel like they're gonna ban it like a month into Splite and just torture us.
I could see it. If they do wait to December, like people are thinking, it's definitely gone in December. It has to. Then the one thing that was brought back for this deck, it's no harp, but we have one of Jet Synchron.
Love it.
This card is phenomenal. It gives you a discard outlet, it's a machine, it's a tuner, and it's 2 bodies. And this deck tends to link a lot, which is actually very much to its benefit right now, because it means you play around D-Barrier much better. D-Barrier can't hit links, it can hit every other summon mechanic.
Unreal. Love Jet Synchron.
Then for the one of spells, 1 for 1.
Why not?
This discards to summon a Bombard or a Jet from deck. Just incredible. Call by the Grave. In every deck ever.
Every deck.
It will never be cut. It's bring it back to 3.
Every deck.
Monster Reborn. This just makes your hands a lot better if you see it. Because anything that you send, you don't have to
Just
Dark
pop
Cloth
off.
yourself. You just bring it back, and then you can activate its effect later.
Brilliant. Have to.
Foolish Burial, mandatory in every Orcust list.
Yeah, have to. You need it.
And the one of Harpy's Feather Duster. There's a lot of Mystic Mine at events we play at, so
Yeah, that's creeping around.
you gotta have something in there.
That just came out of nowhere the last 2 months and it's just sneaking into everything. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I played Zombies and I had 2 Mystic Mine.
I mean, Mind Striker just topped the NA. Was it the WCQ?
Yeah,
Whatever
and,
NA event just happened.
And Dragondale.
Yeah, so you definitely want to be mindful of it. I think you should always allocate at least 1 spot in the main
Mindful.
to outing it, for major events at least.
Yeah.
And Harpies is just the best. It's a one of that wipes
great.
back row if you see it.
It's great.
It's great into every control deck, and it's your Mystic Mine out. I don't see a reason not to play it in most decks. Then for the hand trap lineup, we actually have a lot of hand trap room for this.
Because there's so much room. Like, the Punk and the
The engines are very compact, is the thing.
It's such a small... Like, the Punks are so small and the Orcusts are so small that it leaves so much room for this. It's great.
Which is ideal.
Yeah.
Right now, you do want a lot of hand traps.
Yeah.
And these slots just become
Whatever you want.
blowout cards
Yeah.
next format, because hand traps are less efficient into Splite and Terelement, but things like Dark Ruler, Talents, Droplets, they do a huge amount of work against the boards those decks can put up.
Yeah.
And Droplets specifically is incredible in this deck, because you discard Orcusts off it.
Yeah. I mean, if you can afford it, go for it, like 100%.
For sure. So the most important hand trap in this deck, I would say, is 3 Gamma and of course the 1 Driver.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things that are interesting about this in this deck. Firstly, it's a tuner, so you can Hulk it.
Exactly.
And it's a psychic, so you
Yeah.
can E-Telly it.
Yeah.
It helps to protect your E-Telly when you're summoning the Zayaman, because you won't have a monster on field yet, which is probably the biggest choke point the deck has on a lot of hands. And more importantly, if you use this on your turn,
It's a level 8 synchro.
it's the level 8 synchro,
It's
which
like,
is, the whole play of your deck.
the level 8 synchro.
And as well, to summon back Chaos Ruler, you need a Light of Dark in the grave. Generally, that will be your Foxy tune.
Yeah.
But if you mill these, if you activate these, if they're in grave, these are more lights to go with the whole Dark Engine you have.
It's one of the few times if you're milling your hand traps, you don't really mind. Obviously, unless it's this.
No, you love to mill this, because then you can't draw it, and you can resolve Gamma so long as this is in grave.
This guy is probably the most unwanted to see in hand card in Yu-Gi-Oh! In recent years.
Yeah, again, the deck does discard a fair amount, so it's not... obviously, it's not ideal, but you can play through it pretty easily. So then, Triple Ash, it's just the hand trap with the best coverage.
Yeah.
Hits everything.
Will always be good.
Yeah. Another Light and another E-Telly target as it happens. Triple Ogre.
This is great.
This is phenomenal into adventure decks, which are popping back up. As well as a lot of other things, but the adventure decks are generally what
Ogre
you want
was
to hit with
considered
this.
for like 2 months, if you remember, like the best hand trap a few months ago, and then it just went away, and then like when E-Teddy came back, it just popped up again, and I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't realize it activates when it's on the field.
It's one of the very few hand traps that, maybe the only, that can activate while on the field.
It's the only one out of the sisters, I think, that activates
it
on the
is.
field.
It's also a level 3, so for example, say you get Ogred on Zayaman. Doesn't happen often, but a lot of people have been doing it to me recently.
Yeah.
Presumably with the idea that, the Zayaman not on field, you can't sync it off with the Deer Note, so
But you can work
it makes
way
some
around
amount of sense. But if you have the Ghost Ogre in hand, you normal summon it, you synchro anyway.
Yeah, there you go, just keeps going.
And lastly, Triple Imperm.
Yeah.
I think this is probably the best hand trap in general. It hits most decks. You can set it. It's a good bluff. It's just generally quite good.
Like Ash, it will just always be good.
Exactly. It may not be the most effective against specific decks, but it's probably the most effective overall. So that rounds up the main. Very happy with this.
Just so much flex spots and so much to work with. It all suits up so well.
Yeah, those last, whatever they were, 13 spots for the hand traps. And in fact, the power spells, if you decide you don't want to play any of these are entirely flexible. The only things that are necessary are the 2 engines. Every other spot in the deck is up to personal preference and is format dependent.
That's it. So much like flex for your locals, whatever. It's great.
It's brilliant. It's essentially like maining a full side deck and then having another full side deck to go.
What other deck has like 13 flex spots?
Right now, it's hard to find. So we'll move on to the extra. So the one of Linkariba.
Yeah.
This is mandatory because of the token that your Girsu summons.
Yeah.
Being a normal monster. So
That's it.
this allows it to be treated as an effect monster. However, this in grave, firstly, it's a dark you don't mind banishing.
Exactly.
Because you'd prefer not to banish Orcusts.
Yeah.
But it also contribute a level 1 monster to summon itself, which allows a lot of end boards where you summon the Bombard or the Jet off Hulk to be less threatenable by going second decks.
That's it.
It's not bad at all. The card is mandatory to play, but it comes up in a lot of different scenarios, which I like. It doesn't feel like a wasted spot.
No, definitely not. Linkariba's great.
2 Galatea.
Woo!
This card is ridiculous.
Unreal.
So you make it with 2 effect monsters, including an Orcust monster, hence the Linkariba. It can't be destroyed by battle if it's linked, which is one of those effects no one ever reads.
Yeah.
Similarly, Orcust Nightmare can't be destroyed by battle with a link monster.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't, like, a lot of people wouldn't know.
Yeah, so you can live an access code swinging in if they just don't remember that you have, like, Nightmare Skeleton engraved.
People who play Yu-Gi-Oh! Will know that some people just do not read cards.
Yeah, a very well-known fact.
Yeah, it's a thing.
So this card says you can target one of your banished machine monsters, shuffle it into the deck, then optionally, that's important because it allows you to recur every turn even if you don't have targets left.
Yeah.
You can set one Orcust spell trap directly from deck. We have 3 very solid targets, and then when you run out, this is just recursion. But most importantly, this card says machine monster, not dark machine.
Recycles Hulk.
Recycles Hulk and recycles Jet.
Yeah.
Turn by turn,
Yeah.
you can put back your entire lineup between your Orcus, your Hulk, your Jet Synchron. It's incredible how much this deck can grind.
That's it. There's so many control decks not playing hand traps at the moment that are just like, if I break your board, you're once off board, you're done. Like, this deck recycles its whole board. It's great.
Not to mention, the reason that strategy works is a lot of decks invest into monsters that are powerful on field but can't come back.
Yeah.
Every card in the Orcus lineup is one skeleton away from returning to the field.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not one and done. It just recycles. It's very environmentally friendly.
Yeah, there we go.
Just keeps going.
So the next one is the Hulk.
Yep.
So this one, again, just phenomenal. It summons a level 3 or lower tuner.
It's Hulk.
Which is, every hand trap. It's the Zayamin. It's more importantly, it's the Bombard and the Jet Synchron.
It summons every one of your tuners.
So the other thing about this card is it's a machine monster that can summon a tuner synchro during your opponent's turn by banishing for cost.
Yeah.
So you get to put it back off this, and you get to do the very fun play with these cards. You set the scythe, you pop the scythe, you make the big one.
Yeah, everyone knows what this
Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it's solid. There's just no avoiding it. If your deck can do this format, it should be doing it.
Again, I was just thinking maybe they're not getting rid of this because they want us to have some protection from Sply. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'd be interested. Another option in this deck is you are actually not hard required to purchase Baron.
Yeah.
This is a very expensive card right now.
Yeah.
The price tag is prohibitive to a lot of people.
Yeah.
This deck can actually get by playing the Sword Soul level 10.
Oh,
because
Chang'e?
Yes, the water one.
Yeah.
Because the Orcus will banish on your opponent's turn, allowing you to use that as interaction.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite nice that you don't have to have this. So then back to the links, we have IP Masquerena.
Yeah.
This has always been a part of Orcus Sem boards for a reason. It's just a great piece of interaction, and importantly, once you resolve an Orcus card in grave, I forgot to mention this, you are locked into darks from the extra deck.
Yeah.
So the reason we play so many dark links is because you just want things to put stray monsters into once you've resolved your Orcusts. And this is probably the best overall of those.
Yeah. Sure, dark's not, and like it's probably the best thing it can be locked into. Like.
Yeah, it's not like being wind locked.
No, no.
Then I play one dark. This
card.
card is very good. It is the card I would cut first from this list.
Yeah.
It's the only card I'm not super confident in because it doesn't come up in every matchup.
When you were topping with this deck at the start, like this was snatching DPEs, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, when I first built this deck, that was the reason we took this.
Still good though, like.
It's still very good. It still comes up a lot, especially for link climbing. But certain decks just won't have a target engrave, and it doesn't come up going first. So I've considered cutting it for Lungirsu, which is the Orcus Link 3.
Yeah.
Reason being that it can shuffle back 2 machines.
Which is great.
Which means every turn, because you can resolve it as a quick effect with Babel, you're recycling 4 machines, which means every turn you can put back your Symbol Skeleton, your World Wand, your Hulk, and your Jet.
That's insane.
It's a crazy advantage.
It just keeps going.
I haven't found it necessary yet. I've been managing with Galatea, but this is the first thing to go if something's going for the extra. I think everything else is more or less mandatory.
Yeah.
Then the One Nightmare Unicorn.
IP.
This is generally what you make off IP.
Yep.
Also, importantly, it's the only Link 3 in here right now, which is necessary for this guy.
Yes, sir.
He's a Dark 2, so if you need to, you can Orcus ladder up to him.
Oh yeah, I don't know why I thought he was light. That's insane.
That's why the 3 of these are Dark.
That's what I mean. Being locked into dark is not really.
Yeah, you can really go for an OTK.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the Orcust Xyz, Ding, which we played 2 of.
Dark.
This is Dark too. But importantly, it's 2600, which isn't quite enough to OTK with 53 until you resolve Nightmare. So Nightmare actually has to target a monster, and it gives it attack equal to the Orcust or World Legacy's level that you send.
Yeah.
Times 100. So
Actually,
you make this, you send the world one, targeting Ding, and suddenly you have over 8k.
Yeah.
It's just enough to OTK.
Then here we go.
So, the Chaos Ruler.
Yeah.
This is the card the deck centers around. It's 2 bodies because it revives itself,
Yeah.
and it mills 5. You can chain block it with the Punk Engine, but milling 5 in this deck, just ridiculous.
Insane.
Every card is good in Grave.
I think the duel we played against you milled like everything perfect. It was like jet. It was everything. It was amazing.
Yeah, like it's very high rolly, but so long as you hit one playable card,
Yeah.
your turn just continues.
And just the fact you can nearly guarantee it's resolving is insane.
Not to mention the cards that generally you would think you don't want to mill. Babel can add itself back.
Yeah.
This is a search spell in Grave.
Yeah.
And other than that, like, it's all either, you know, hand traps, power cards that you would like to have, but if you didn't draw them, they don't matter in deck. Or it's Orcusts or Punks that you
don't
would
care.
love to have in there. It's great. And just, it's a ridiculous card. It's the strategy every single turn in this deck is make this.
Yeah.
And it's that for a reason.
Great.
Not to mention, funnily enough, Dingirsu is generally summoned by its own effect, putting it over an Orcus Link monster. But it is just a generic rank
It's
8.
a level 8. Like it's played in
So-
so many level 8s.
You can quite often use your Deer Note to revive Foxy Tune and hard make Ding off these 2 without being Darklocked.
Starting off as an Accursed player, you would see people like sacrificing the Galatea to make this, but you don't have to.
It's not mandatory, and it doesn't always come up, but it's very nice to have the option.
That's it.
Generally, though, you will be using your Deer Note to revive a Zayaman
Yeah.
and linking these 2 straight into Hulk.
Yeah.
Because it means, like, you have lost nothing and you've gained 5 mils in the process of making a Hulk.
And it can all come back.
It can all come back. And the last card in the list
Expensive.
to make over this, Zeus. You have an Xyz that you can make off of pretty much anything,
Yeah.
because you just slap it over a Galatea, and it'll only be a 2-mat Zeus, but this deck really likes having a board
That
wipe.
can be enough, like.
Especially because Ding's effect, non-targeting, sends a card your opponent controls.
Yeah.
So you make this, you send whatever would contest the Zeus, then you swing in, and you make the Zeus.
And then Zeus can send whatever's left.
Exactly. So it's just functionally a board wipe. The only issue with it is that it's a light, but generally you're making it before resolving an Orcust. It is technically cuttable, but I would highly recommend playing.
Oh, if you can fit in a Zeus, the Zeus is a Zeus.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a board wipe. It's very good. Now, like I said, the flex spots are exactly that. They're all flex spots. You can play anything you need for your locals, for your meta, whatever you feel necessary, any tech choices you have. If you want to fit a 3rd engine, you really could.
That's insane.
Like, you could very easily play Therions with this, given that the Orcus are machines.
Yeah.
Anything to that effect. So the side deck is similar in that you just play 15 cards that are going to help you
Side deck
in
is
whatever
always
event you're going to.
Locals preference.
But I will say this deck is incredible at siding because you can naturally side out 12 before you even get to your engines.
Like you could side in another engine nearly if you wanted to throw off your
That's what I'm
opponent.
saying is if you decide next format Splight is the best deck, I'm going to side 15 for Splight, you can full on side 15
That's
cards.
insane. Well, I think that's it. Great deck, as I said. Orcust is one of our favorite deck profiles. Bring back Harp, and I think that's it, guys. See you.